Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Well, I'm not entirely sure that's the most accurate term I can use right at the moment. I have been doing a lot of thinking the last couple of weeks. I don't know if my regular followers have noticed. I would imagine so, that I haven't actually really been posting anything the last few weeks. And I'm kind of here to explain why. I'm going to cut straight to the chase. I'm actually going to be terminating my YouTube channel for a short period of time. I'm not eliminating it. I'm not erasing anything from my channel. It is entirely possible that I may come back at some point in the future. Right now, I do not have the time to devote to my channel. I do not have the interest in the games that I am sure most of you subscribed to my channel for, at least not at the present time. I haven't been playing World of Warships, World of Warplanes, World of Tanks, and the only thing I've been doing really the last, almost a year now anyway, have been live streams. I haven't been doing any actual videos of anything up to and including World of Warships. So I am, again, I'm going to be terminating my channel for an, at this point, unknown period of time. It's entirely possible I may get back to it this fall or maybe even this winter. Hell, it could even be as soon as later this summer. But right now, I do not see myself continuing anything that I was doing and operating my channel at the same time. There are a number of contributing factors in this decision. One is that I barely have time for myself, let alone to be able to manage my channel, do a stream, or even pop together just a quick video. I just don't have the time right now. When I'm home, I'm helping my mom with kittens. We have been absolutely swamped with kittens this year. This was supposed to be a down year for the rescue, and as of right now, we actually have almost 70 kittens in our house, in the rescue right now. So the vast majority of our time is spent cleaning up after and taking care of them. So that's one thing that's chewing up a lot of my time at home. I am still working full-time, or trying to, which actually right at the moment also involves a lot of trying to keep my hours, because it is summer, and with a lot of the COVID restrictions and everything that are starting to be pulled back, we're actually seeing less orders at work. So if I need to keep my hours, that means I'm actually having to stay until the end of my shift to do inventory, stuff like that, and basically just mill around however I can, doing whatever work I can in order to maintain basically my paycheck. Other things, when I do get home from work, it's usually late, and I get home and immediately, just like before work, I'm hitting the ground running. I'm helping my mom get kittens fed at night. I'm helping my mom get things cleaned up at night. And by the time I even get close to considering having the possibility of sitting down to play games or whatever, it's 2 in the morning, and I'm not recording anything that late at night, especially if I've been up 12, 13, 14 hours, and I'm just tired. At that point, I'm not even playing the games that I want to play, which right now is Mass Effect Legendary Edition, because I don't have the time. So I can't post videos or post streams of things that I'm not playing or doing. And I can't really showcase, or I really don't feel comfortable showcase any of what's going on around the house with the kittens and whatnot. I don't even know how I would. Probably some manner of recording on my phone and transferring video, and I really don't feel like figuring that out. And even then, it's really not that fun or glamorous, so I don't know why many people would want to see that here. Especially on what is a dedicated gaming channel. The final issue right at the moment is it is just hot. I don't know if any of you may have seen or noticed any mention of this in one of my previous streams. I'm sure I did mention it briefly. So those of you who haven't watched my streams lately won't know this. We have no AC in the house right now. This is the fourth year in a row that our central air unit has died on us. The last 3 years we've had somebody come out, take a look at it, fix it, and gotten it working again, usually around this time of the summer. But we've finally just gotten tired of it. This has been a yearly thing for like 3 or 4 years in a row. Our AC unit is old as shit. It's like 40 some odd years old. It was installed back in the 80s, maybe even as far away as the 70s. It is old. It's dead. It is, and we've learned that it is actually an underpowered unit for our house anyway, which also explains why when it would run, it wasn't keeping up with the house in the dead of summer. There's also concern that our AC ducts aren't actually channeling air from the AC unit, and just a number of other things. But right now, our AC unit is dead. It's kaput. We can't get it started. We're not having it repaired to just give us something as a stopgap. In the middle of July, this coming month, it's supposed to be, I think it's July 13th, July 14th, we're supposed to be having somebody come out to replace our AC unit with one that is suited for the house, do the ductwork, do everything that it needs to get this house proper AC. But again, that's like 2 weeks from now. So in this house, it is going to be hot. I mean, I'm sure I look like a mess on camera right now. I guarantee I look like a mess on camera right now. And admittedly, right at the moment, we have had a mild week up until the last couple of days, but it's been a week since I showered last. That's actually more to do with my transition than anything else, because I don't want to ruin this thing right here, my patches. I can't really immerse them, so I generally have one good shower a week, and then and that's to wash my hair, everything, and then I'll try to rinse down or something over the remainder of the week, but I can't get full coverage because of this thing. I've tried one stopgap before, but I'm hesitant to use it unless I absolutely need to. But because of this and other things, I'm going to be looking like more of a mess, because we are expecting the heat to just ramp up. It's going to get hotter. In fact, I'm sure in my audio right now, you can hear the fans running in the background. I've got one fan in my window here venting hot air from my room, because my room is at the end of the line. All the hot air collects here. Yeah. So we had to get a dedicated fan, basically permanent, in my window here for right now, for the next 2 weeks, to vent all of the hot air that's accumulating in my room. I have an oscillating fan in my corner over here. I've got my ceiling fan up here going, and it's circulating the air. It's keeping things at least moderately warm, but it's still, if it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter, my room's going to be an oven. And this is where I do all my gaming. So unless you want to see me sweating like a pig and being utterly miserable while I'm doing my gaming, when I do my gaming and my stream or my videos or whatever, I don't think that's what I want to be showing. And again, this is assuming that I even have time to do any of that in the first place right at the moment. So yeah, just overall, this has been a difficult decision for me to come to because I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to be in the position of terminating my channel for any reason at all. But right at the moment, I don't have much of a choice. I've got so much working against me right at the moment to the upkeep and maintenance of my channel that I just can't foresee trying to keep it up and just leaving you all hanging without a word. So I can understand if I lose subscribers because of this. I guarantee that I'm going to lose subscribers of this, and while I hate thinking about that, I also understand. I'm not active. My channel, as I'm saying here, is being terminated with a marginal, at best, possibility of coming back, depending on whether I'm even interested in upkeeping it in a couple of months or weeks when things are settled down and cooling down and I actually have the time or ability again. But the basic point is that the responsibilities around the house, the heat, everything, it's just built up to the point where right now it is not feasible for me to keep this up. And I'm putting this video out because I want to be honest with all of you. And I apologize for those of you who have been following me for a while, who have invested in a way in watching my videos and watching my channel. I apologize. And that is why I'm coming out and being honest with you right now, because I've seen YouTube channels that just stop posting and disappear completely. And I don't want to be that channel. And I would like to be clear in that I do still want to keep the channel going to a certain degree. And I would, when I have the interest again, when I am producing material again, I would love to get back into it. But right now, I'm just not there. Now, of course, I will be very grateful to those of you who remain subscribed to my channel on the off chance that I do get to producing again, or in the hopes that I continue producing again. But yeah, that's where things are right now. And as I said, I hate having to do this. I hate feeling like I have to. This is something that I did for fun as a hobby, and I'm barely even able to have fun just outside of this. So, yeah. In a way, it's kind of had me a little bit depressed. Just a little bit. Not enough to be concerned about me, but just, yeah. I'm reiterating my points. And I'm going over everything over and over again, and I really probably shouldn't. Anyway, I suppose I should give a little bit of update in regards to other news, just in general. Overall, my transition, for those of you who are curious, is going fairly well. I have passed my 1 year milestone. 1 year transition. Yay! And of course I'm hot as hell and not really discussing it much. As several of you can see, I've seen a fair bit of growth up top here. Those of you who've been watching my streams will have seen that in bits and pieces. But I'm happy with where I am for right now. I've had my hair properly cut and styled to a point lately, and I'm learning how to style it on my own. Just a little bit, just maintaining the style that it was cut as, more so than anything else. And when I had my blood work done recently, I am moving up to the next dosage size, so the next patch up, which is a 0.075 milligram per day patch instead of what I'm on right now, which is a 0.06. So it's a pretty substantial jump, but I'm thinking part of that was due to the one prescription that I mentioned a while back, the progesterone possibly having something to do with impacting the estrogen, eating it or interfering with it or something. And this is something that I'm suspecting, but I can't guarantee this in any way because it's been so hot. One other reason I'm thinking my estrogen levels could be lower right now is because the heat in the house. I actually looked, the recommended storage temperature of the estrogen patches is like less than 86 degrees. And there were a couple of days within the last couple of weeks that were up there. So I'm wondering if the heat actually got into and denatured some of my patches. I have no guarantee of that. I have no proof as to whether or not that is the case, but that is my suspicion. But beyond that, I mean, everything's still been progressing. The patches have still been at least marginally effective. They just may not have been as effective as they could have been. But hopefully we'll start to see, or I will start to see a improvement in the effect with the new patches at the new dosage, and that'll be that. Not much else going on in the world. As I mentioned, kittens. Oh God. I suppose for those of you who are curious, the kittens are phenomenal. With the heat, that's kind of got them a little bit depressed right at the moment right now. They're not as active as they could be. They're just kind of wanting to lay down and around in the house to stay cool. They're not playing around too terribly much, unless we get to the cooler parts of the day where our stopgap measures, which is like a window AC unit downstairs and a portable AC unit in one of the other rooms of the house, and all the fans actually start making a difference, start cutting the heat, and they can actually be active, move around without overheating themselves. But yeah, one of the rescues that really hurt, I should say, was actually last Thursday. So that just this past Thursday. And it was a doozy. It was a doozy. My mom got a call from somebody who said she had 6 kittens. She only said she had 6 kittens. Take 6 kittens, bring them in, get them homes, basically do the whole rescue thing, be a rescue for the 6 kittens that she had. Yeah, that kind of ended up blowing up. And I don't mean literally. I mean in a not in really a good way. The When we got to the house, first and foremost, we don't have pictures of this. The actual owner of the home was not there. She actually had a friend meet us, and with that being the case, with the owner not there, while we had phones with us, while we could have taken pictures, video, whatever, without the owner's direct permission, we were unable to do that. The house was basically condemned. I mean, it should have been condemned. That this family was living in a condemned house. For one thing, these cats, and yes, I'm saying cats to include kittens, were living in this house with this family. The front and rear doors were not functional. In fact, the front door was entirely non-functional. The inner door of the front door was hanging half off the hinges. It was leaning up against the front door, so you could not have opened the front door to get in or out of that house. The back door of the house was a screen door that had none of the screening in it, all the way down to the floor. The inner door was almost non-existent. And didn't really lock. It was just kind of free flapping. So there was that. Before we even walked in the back door, mind you, we could smell the cat pee in the house. It was that bad just from the outside. We walked into the house and it was like a wall of reek, a wall of stink. It smelled, it reeked of cat pee, cat shit, and other things. Go ahead. There was trash, and I mean trash used I'm talking like used empty Lunchable cartons. I'm talking used food wrappers, cigarette boxes. It wasn't like walking into a hoarder's house. The best way, and my mom's described it this way, and it's the only thing that I can come up with. If any of you have ever actually seen the TV show Hoarders, where they go in, they clean up the house of a hoarder, after they've pulled everything out of the house, but before they actually do the cleanup, that's kind of what this house looked like. Just in regards to all the junk that was still around and in the corners. There were rodents freely running around in the house with the cats and the kittens. The cats had dry food available in the heat with no water, no wet food. We brought these kittens in, they didn't even know what the hell wet food was, and it took them a while to even figure out what water was. And these are kittens that are ranging in age from, we figure 4 weeks at the youngest up to 10 weeks. So we had 3 separate litters, as best we can tell. And all of them, with exception of the oldest ones, the 10 weeks, there were 3 of them that were they were sick. They had eye infections. They were emaciated. I mean, we could tell that the mothers weren't even getting enough nutrition to be able to feed the babies, because some of these babies should have still been nursing, especially specifically the 4-weekers. It was, and this was just walking into the kitchen. There was one point in the kitchen where my mom reached for a kitten and had to let go when she realized it was a rat. There was a kitten that was sleeping in another corner of the kitchen under a table next to a dead mouse. Other rooms in the house, there was like a living room off to the side. It had one big sectional couch that was cluttered with trash, that meaning where it was up against the wall, it was cluttered with trash in there. There was trash in between the cushions, and the whole thing reeked of cat urine. There was another room. Walk in the door, you've got the kitchen, you've got the room that I just talked about, then you come back and there was like a small living space where they had TV. That room was a mess. It was cluttered with kids' toys. It was cluttered with trash from simple, quick kids' meals, again, Lunchables, things like that. There was a bag of grapes sitting in the middle of the floor. A bag of grapes just sitting in the middle of the floor. The room itself reeked of cat pee with all this other trash around. And there was cat litter on the floor. So those grapes were not viable. But it was a full bag of grapes. Like they had just been bought and just brought in, dropped on the floor. There were kids living in this house along with these cats. And this isn't even the worst of it. Off the back of the, or off, I say the back, this is actually moving forward of the house. The kitchen was in the back. The kitchen was the room that the door we entered opened into. Oh, and by the way, the basement door, which was right inside that door that we came in, was propped open with a juice bottle, and the door to the outside, from the basement to the outside by their driveway and everything. So on the exterior of the house, from the basement to outside, was gone. There was nothing in the frame. So these cats, these kittens, had free access to outdoors. Free access to the outside. No food or water, or no wet food, no water, just dry food. So these cats were dehydrated, they were unhealthy, they were sick. Front of the house. We didn't even go into the upstairs. I'm not even going to bother go talking about upstairs. We didn't go up there. Only the friend of the family did, and I'm not entirely sure she was even really honest with us about what was up there. But front of the house, we come up basically opposite where the back door would have been on just in general layout. And the odor in the house changed. It was no longer just the smell of cat pee. This was the smell of death in this house. Something died in one of the corners in that front room. It was, and I didn't actually see the body. I wasn't paying that much attention myself. My mom saw it. She has no idea whether or not the body was a kitten or a rodent, because it had been fed on. My focus when I went up there was in the state of that one front corner room. Litter all over the place. Feces, cat shit all over the floor. Overflowing cat boxes that had not been cleaned, not maintained, by best guess at least a couple of weeks. It was I felt like I needed to walk out of that house and bathe in antibiotics. It was that bad in that one room. There was another room adjacent off of that front way. It was set up like a bedroom. It had a bed in there. And when my mom walked in, a rat ran off the bed. And people were living in this house, actively living in this house with children. And the cats. We were only there to take home 6 kittens. We took home 11 from 3 separate litters. And we have reason to suspect that there may have been more at some time and may have died. And this is on top of 4 cats that we saw, suspected at least 7 adult cats. My mom says that this is easily the second worst environment that she had seen in the time she's been doing rescue, which has been about 6. It's been a pretty substantial amount of time at this point. Personally, this was the worst environment I have seen, period, for living state in any home for anything cat, human, bar none. This is the worst that I have seen personally. Now, keep in mind when we were doing this, one other thing I feel I should mention is when we were doing this rescue, we had just around 60 kittens, including our own cats. So 60 in total in our house. We were only supposed to bring in 6, 3 of which were supposed to go off to another rescue. They actually have at this point. We sent the 10 weeks off to the other rescue that was supposed to take them anyway. But keeping in mind how busy everything has been in this house based on the earlier portion of this video, I was walking into this house looking at my mom like, okay, we're only taking 6, right? We never actually said anything specifically to this point to one another. But within 2 minutes of walking into that kitchen, my mom and I were looking at each other, and it was a silent communication. It was a silent conversation and understanding. And I know my eyes were saying, we're only taking 6. There was no way we could leave those kittens in that environment. It was that messed up. I'm still having nightmares about that house. We got the kittens home, we called in, and basically an all hands on deck. We had people who are previous rescuers who have adopted from us, or rescue associates come in to help us bathe some of these kittens, to evaluate them for health, to give them medicines, get weights, and basically just have other witnesses as to their condition when they first came into the house, or when they first came into us. My mom actually got into this rescue from a Facebook forum, and she contacted that forum, and to my knowledge, not just 1 or 2 or 3, I think to 4 different credited rescues immediately contacted the local police that had jurisdiction in that area and reported the conditions in that house. And I believe a little bit later after that, there was a follow-up where the police actually spoke to my mom. They got her story, got her observations, basically just confirmed the reports, and did a direct visit of the house. And other rescues are getting involved with trying to get those cats out of there, to remove the cats. The family is not going to be allowed to keep any of the cats that were there, even if they move to a new place at this point. And also to get Child Protective Services involved. There's a part of me that feels, and I know it's messed up, there's a part of me that feels guilty for this, because I was there, I saw that house, and that essentially makes me part of all of this, in a way. I feel guilty that those children are being removed from their family because of what we got involved with. And I know that there are foster homes and whatnot that are not that great out there. And I understand that those are also outliers in some cases. But the foster system does have problems out there. But on the other hand, and it's that guilt in a way that's also kind of giving me a hard sense of, it's getting in the way of me feeling any sense of closure over what we saw there either. Because while it's nice to know the family's out of there, again, the family's being split up. That there is no way that that house is livable. They are basically going to have to be evicted. They're going to be kicked out of that home. It is a condemned house. And the children are being removed from the family, to the best of my understanding. And in part, it's all because we got involved, because of what we saw when we were there to rescue kittens. But again, the conditions in that house were not sanitary. That home was not safe for animals, let alone human habitation. And I would love nothing more than to get that house out of my head. That environment, that those conditions never should have been allowed to happen. And the fact that it took us getting involved for anybody to see or even notice this, I think, is wrong on the deepest levels. I would like to think that we got all the kittens out of there, but only the friend of this family actually went upstairs, and I don't know if she found any kittens up there or not. I would like to hope that she didn't, that we did in fact get all of them out of there. But there's a part of me that There's a part of me that fears we didn't. And maybe that's why I'm having such a hard time getting it out of my head. Why I'm still having the nightmares. Because it's all the what if. What if we didn't get them? What if there are kittens? What if there are cats still suffering in that house because we weren't able to find them? We don't even have the space to bring them in, and I'm still wishing we could have found more if there were there. Just to get them out of that hellhole. I hate people. I truly do. How anyone can think those conditions are acceptable is utterly, entirely beyond my comprehension. We got those kittens home, and once we actually had the chance to sit down, settle down, and process all of it, my mom just sat down in a corner and cried. And maybe it's because my patches weren't as effective, my emotions weren't as close to the surface, but I probably should have too. I probably would have too. Or it could just be that I was still shell-shocked from everything that I saw. I actually ended up bailing out of work the next day because I think the stress of having been in that house, among other things, and all of it just took a toll finally and knocked me out. I guess to just kind of finish off and sum up this story, as I already said, the 3 kittens that the other rescue were supposed to take have gone to the other rescue. They're doing well. They're finally starting to learn what wet cat food actually is. But it's going to be a work in progress for them. The ones that we have here have all finally figured out what food is. They're doing well. They're There are a couple of them that are still a little sickly. They're still concerning to us because they're just small. We kept the little ones, the 4-week-olds. So they're, in a couple of cases, they're still learning what food even is. But they're doing better. Their weight is coming up. They're starting to show signs of being healthy, of being normal kittens. And that is the best thing that's come out of this entire issue with this one rescue. The fact that we could give those kittens a fair and fighting chance. I'm sure you can see it in my expression and everything as I'm going through this recording and all that just how much this rescue actually affected me. How much it's still affecting me at this point. And I've had almost a full week to process this. It was horrendous. Anyway, that's what's been going on here. That's what's been going on in my head lately too. But that's what's been going on here. That's what's been causing all of my problems with getting on, doing video posts, or even just doing a weekly stream, what have you. It's just the time, the constraints, the rescue, work, everything. Just all of it's been adding up to a big nothing that I can do. So, yeah. Anyway, and this is me actually trying to stop stalling and get this video over with. I will reiterate that I do hope to try and get my channel back up and running at some point in the future. It all depends on how much time I have, especially once we start getting kittens out of here, start having to worry about cleaning up the house less, or worry about trying to keep cool less. And otherwise just have the time to be able to devote to it, be able to have the time to devote to myself even. Because a part of why I'm such a mess right now is just because I don't have the time to de-stress myself with my games. Or the only de-stressing that I've had any time for have been audiobooks that I've been listening to while I'm at work. And trust me, that really doesn't qualify as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah. Time will tell, and that's about all I can say. I do appreciate the loyalty of the subscribers that I have, and those of you who choose to stick around until I come back, I will say thank you to you now in advance. If I do ultimately decide to permanently terminate the channel, I guarantee you I will find the time to put out another video to that point, so that you all know to kind of let me go. I'm hoping the opposite happens, where I'm able to have the time and the ability to put into the channel again. But we'll again, time will tell. We will see what happens. It all depends on what happens with the rescue, with the house, with the AC, and work in general. On that note, I shall let you all go. I hope you all are safe out there. I hope you all are cool out there. COVID is still a thing, so I suppose stay healthy, stay happy, stay safe, and I wish you all happy hunting. Have a good one, folks.